So today I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story about one of the best days of my life. And that was the day Toby was born. So Toby was born on September 29th, 1998. He was early, but only by a few weeks, a couple weeks. And we, Dana called me at work and said, I'm in labor, you got to get home. So I left my job and I met her at the house, and we originally had gone to South Buffalo Mercy Hospital, right only a mile from the house or so. And we walked there, surprisingly. Um, and um, and we were really excited, but actually being born, being at a couple years earlier, was a godsend, but it was a very difficult labor. Dana had been in labor for like 30 hours, and neither of the epidurals worked, and it was very tough. But eventually, our beautiful daughter was born, and I was in heaven. So now here it was, Toby being delivered, and it was 2 years later, and we were anticipating something quite similar. So, being that he was already having some problems in utero, South Buffalo Mercy sent us in an ambulance to Children's Hospital, and we were a little apprehensive to begin with, but this ambulance ride kind of jacked up the anxiety a little bit. But at the same time, being at Children's Hospital seemed like a good place for us. You know, they would know exactly what to do in this delicate situation. So she goes in, and surprisingly, it's only um, like maybe 8 or 9 hours of labor, which is a long time, but in comparison to Ashley, it was a relatively short time. So she gives birth, and um, uh, uh, um, fairly easily, from the dad's side point of view, I guess maybe easily for hers, no, but it was not quite as hard as Ashley. So we were sitting in our room, and we were just trying to get used to things. Um, Toby being born a boy was a shock because all the MRIs said he was going to be a girl, but Dana knew it was going to be a boy, and sure enough, turned out to be a boy. The doctors were wrong. Mom was right. So I had rushed out, and I went to the arena and bought the hockey arena that was downtown, and bought a newborn jersey, one piece outfit for a newborn that had the Sabres logo on it because I like hockey. So the Toby was in the the nursery, and it was just me and Dana, and we were trying to eat something, and a doctor come rushing in, and he says, "Where's the child?" And I said, "In the nursery, right?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "There's a problem. The child's got a hole in his heart, and we're gonna have to do surgery." And me and Dana just lit up. We were like, oh my God, what's going on here, right?" And I already knew Mom had heart problems from a hole in her heart when she was a child, and I was just really stressed, and I'm trying to be strong for my wife, but I'm like freaking out my little boy. And so just as the doctor's about to turn around and walk away, another doctor rushed in and grabbed a hold of the doctor that had just told me this, and eventually we find out that um, this guy is not a doctor. He is an intern, and had gone to the wrong room. And me and Dana are like, "Oh my God, what's going on? What's going on?" The doctor says, "Your child is fine. Your child is fine. Your child is fine. I'm so sorry. It's the other room." So we're like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." Our heads are reeling. But then it dawned on us that the people next door were about to get some really terrible news, potentially. So we were sitting in our room, just kind of looking at each other, going, what do we do here? We're thrilled that it's not our child, but the person next door is you know is getting some terrible news. So Dana says we should go over there and talk to them. And Dana was in no shape to getting up after having a child. So I said, okay, I'll go over there. And I went down I was a smoker at the time, so I went downstairs first to have a cigarette. And when I was coming back, I stopped at the florist, gift shop type thing. I bought a set of fairly inexpensive flowers, just so I had something walking in. And I gave the flowers to the man and woman in that next room. And I said, I just wanted to wish you guys well. We're in the next room. And she says, oh, you heard? And I said, I heard what? She says, well, our son has a hole in his heart and he has to have surgery, and we're really stressed about it. And I understand. I didn't tell her that I knew, but I said I understand, and please let us know before we leave how things are going and before you leave. And she says, of course, sir, of course. So I started to exit the room, and the man came with me. He was my age, and he put his arm around me, and he says, man, I'm stressed. I don't know what's going to happen to my baby. And I said, don't you worry, sir. We are praying for you, and it'll work. Everything's going to be great. And he said, thank you. That's what I needed to hear. And he turns around and goes back in his room. So I went back in, and I sat with Dana, and I told her what I did and everything like that. And she felt a little more satisfied that this was kind of wrapping up. And sure enough, it was time to go home. Toby was on the edge of having jaundice, but they still wanted to send us home because the insurance company, of course, didn't want to pay for us to stay an extended period of time. So we were packing everything up, and I thought, I'm going to go and stop next door. It's been another day. I'm wondering what had happened. And I went in, and the man met me at the door and walked out with me, and I was like, uh-oh, he doesn't want me in the room. And he says, I just wanted to tell you thank you for all your prayers. My son is going to be fine. It turns out it wasn't so bad, that they think it'll close up on its own, and everything is going to be good. And I said, oh, thank you, God. I said, thank you. I'm so glad everything worked out. And I put my arm around him. He kind of hugged me, which is a odd thing for two strange men to do. But he hugged me because we were both right there, And so we go home, happy to know that their child is going to be well as ours. But a couple days into being home, Toby started turning very, very yellow, and he had jaundice. And we went to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Oh, we got to have you admitted." So we went to back to Children's, where we would be admitted. But of course, our insurance company had a different idea. They didn't want to pay for him to be in the room, so they had this thing to take home with us that would do the same thing. It was instead of being under the lights to get rid of the jaundice, they had this panel that would go up the back of the child's shirt and had lights in it, and that it would work the same way, but you had to plug it in. So we're like, all right, we don't know anything. We're just kids, all right. So we go home. We got our child, with this thing up his back and plug it in. But all of a sudden there's a storm, a thunderstorm. And it's really bad. And the news is saying, look out for power outages and all this. And sure enough, the power goes out. And Dana screams out, oh my God, I can't plug in my baby. And I laughed, and then she laughed, realizing what she had just said. And we called up my mom, and we ran to her house where she had power, and we plugged Toby back in. And everything worked out great. They'll never forget that.